Now, oh, there we go. All right. What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, and today, hey, got another special guest. Hey, I've known this guy, for about a year or so, man. I'm so pleased he came on with me. Hey, introduce yourself to the people, man.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Jose Acevedo, and I'm the owner and president of Free Agent Boxing.
Hey, man. I appreciate you coming on. I remember when we first talked, and man, I was in the baby stages of getting this off the ground. Was just had a few podcasts in, and I remember you told me who you were, but I knew I wasn't at the point where I was ready to do interviews or anything like that because I was just getting my feet wet. But I saved the number, and I always remember. So when the time came, I said, I'm ready, man. Let me hit up Jose, man. I know he got the connections. I know he know people. So hey, I want him and anybody he can get me, man. Have him come on, man. So I
Pleasure.
mean, so
Yeah,
what
about your
what
project,
what oh yeah, for sure, man. So what really sparked you to get into boxing the way you are? Because I know you say a love for boxing.
well, yeah, being Puerto Rican, I would say is the first thing that you growing up in Puerto Rico, you grew up with boxing, baseball, and basketball. But in my household was boxing. My dad loved boxing, and
Hmm.
I tried boxing, but I couldn't box. I can box, but physically I had some impediments that I couldn't because it would hurt my health. And but my younger brother, he decided to go that route. It was either that route of boxing or streets, jail, or probably end up dead. And he got the opportunity to, make it all the way to the pre-Olympics. Sadly, he couldn't go to the Olympics because in Puerto Rico, is really hard the life, and he got in a crime issue where he got shot a few times, and his dream to go to the Olympics got shut down. But later on, he did become a professional boxer. I helped him go through the professional steps, and he became a great professional boxer.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. Shoot, my love for football is what really got drove me into all sports, period. And my little brother was man, I me playing football it was a struggle. Learning, didn't know much about it, didn't know want nobody teaching me. So going out and trying to play, man, if I knew what I know now, I probably would be had gone Division 1 in college football for sure. But I got a little brother, man. He picked up the game at like 8 years old, and he could do everything. Like
Wow.
it just, I mean, all I had to do was show him once, teach him how to catch, form tackling, blocking. It didn't matter. He picked it up. Like it was like a fish to water, man. And of course, I was like, man, I can't wait. I want him to go, man, go college, go pro, go all of this. But remember, you can't want things more than somebody else want them for themselves. So, hey, after high school, he said he was done. I had to accept it.
That's basically more or less like when I went through with my younger brother. When I started boxing, they were little kids, and I was doing amateur boxing here and there. And to one day, I'm hitting the mitts, which is where when you're practicing with your coach, and my coach hit me with the mitts and the ear, and I started bleeding through my ear. And I stopped, I lost my balance and all that. And when I got home,
Hmm.
I told my grandma and my dad, hey, this is what happened to me today. And that's the moment they told me, you're not supposed to be getting hit in your ears because when you were a baby, you had a surgery on one of your ears and you lost part of your eardrum. So at that moment, they told me, I cannot fight no more, and it hurt me because I was really good at it. But what I
Hmm.
did, I turned my boxing. I went and did taekwondo, which I don't get hit in the face at all. And then when my brother started getting in trouble in Puerto Rico with the law and stuff like that, I told him, Papa, you need to realize that those hands you're good at. We need to put into
Hmm.
use in a right way where you will not get in trouble. And I told him, if you do it, I will support you. I will pay for everything you need to be paid for. And he took that route, and he made it. And I think 2 or 3 times Puerto Rico champion, and then he went professional. And then his second fight he was fighting already in the States. By his third fight he was fighting already in Vegas. So it was a really nice path that we took, and
Hmm.
through him, other fighters started arriving and coming my way and asking me for advices and asking me to take them to the same levels that I took my brother.
Okay. Yeah, I heard you speak. You said that being in Puerto Rico, it's boxing, street activity, jail, or dead. And being here in the U.S. and us having so many avenues and options and things to go through, there's still pockets of the U.S. that they have that mentality. I mean, being here in Florida, I know that for certain. It's either they want to rap, they want to be an athlete, street activities, jail, or dead. That's pretty much their scope of things. And then in other countries, man, that's what it is. So having more avenues, especially for young men. I mean, I know one day I want to be able to have programs for those young men, especially those underprivileged to use, especially young men without fathers, to be able to say, hey, you're more than an athlete, you're more than an entertainer, you're more than a street pharmacist, all of those things, man. There's so many things that you can do. Go out here and find your niche, and when football was no longer an option for me to play, I said in my mind, I remember I was 15 years old. I said that I can't play like I want to. I said, but I'm going to contribute to the game in some type of way. I coached high school football for 3 years, which was a great experience. They don't pay no money. So, I said, I'm going to come back to it. I said, I got to go make this money and I'm going to come back. But I loved it, man. I loved every minute of it. I still got long lasting friendships to this day because of just those 3 years and great young men I came in contact with, but, I know I can just imagine how rough it was, growing up in Puerto Rico. You either make it big or you're pretty much stuck.
And the sad part is, I don't want to diminish or take away, but the big difference that I saw growing up in Puerto Rico and when going to school in Puerto Rico was that it's not like the schools here. Schools here has a great program for sports. In Puerto Rico, the public school system don't have that great program for sports. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you go to any public school and middle school and high school, you have either basketball, football, wrestling, volleyball. You got all
Yep.
the alternative that you could, put your time and effort on. But in Puerto Rico, you don't. In Puerto Rico, you only have the private leagues that you could participate on. And then you have the private schools that yes, they do offer basketball, football. They offer all the alternative that you might have, but then you might not have the money to pay for going to private school. And sadly but truly, it's not the same as here. That if you're a really good athlete, school could actually give you a scholarship.
Yep.
So you have to be ridiculous superstar. That since you like a baby, they're already scouting you to get one of those scholarships. And it's sad because you go to the streets and, for example, basketball, which is a sport that I took on and took me to college and everything, um, was you see more talent in the street than you will see in organized sports. You will go
Mm-hmm.
to the basketball court and the projects, and these kids are playing amazing basketball. Like I
Yes.
remember when I started playing in the um, Red Bull League and the Sprite League and the McDonald
Mm-hmm.
League, I put together my team from people from the projects because they
Yeah.
were way better than the people from organized basketball.
Yep.
Better IQ in basketball, better stamina, better abilities. This
Yep.
kid's jumping over other kids without, no need to run, and they're not getting the attention or direction, like you said, that they need because they from the hood. That's the sad part.
Yeah, man. Hey, people, backyard superstars are a real thing. We just don't talk about those people like, oh man, this guy, he was great. No, 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 no. They're real people. I remember Sammy Watkins, the Chiefs wide receiver, talked about it during his draft process when he was coming to the league. And he said, dude, my athletic ability and my ability isn't special. He said, it's guys just like me, same height, same size, same speed, do just what I do or better. They just didn't have the opportunity that I had. But yeah, man, that thing goes deep, man. It goes deep.
Definitely does. And it goes more than that too. When you come to think of it, um, you got those mom warriors, our mom and dad, but also the fact of not having that male role model or that financial stability to help you push you to those
Mm-hmm.
levels. Because probably I know I have a good friend of mine that he was a great basketball player, about 6'10", you know, great basketball player. Didn't make it far enough because he came from a broken home, only mom, no money to pay for those private leagues in Puerto Rico. Because if you want to shine for real, you gotta play in the private leagues. It's
Yeah.
not like you could just come up and hey, I'm gonna play here because I'm so good. No, they don't care about you good or not. They care about that money. You know,
Yeah.
and that's where boxing for me came. And the name of my company, Free Agent Boxing, is because for box, I see boxing as the only sport that realistically give you an opportunity, no matter who you are. You know,
Right.
the great population in boxing, most of them have been arrested, horrible background, probably didn't finish high school, don't have a great education, and they took it
Hmm.
on because they fought so good in the streets that somebody saw them and said, "Yo, go to the gym and practice in the gym," you know, and that's why I have the urge to start helping all these young guys, and I develop a program to help at-risk students, at-risk youth through boxing to
Hmm.
help them change the way of thinking and giving them that sense of responsibility, hard work, team. Sweat brings effort, sweat brings prices. And realistically, when you have that role model in front of you, male or female, and a person that really cares for you, is in your corner cheering for you, give you that difference that you're looking for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. I took probably one punch to the face, and that was about the extent of my boxing. Yeah, my uncle, he was a amateur boxer. I knew he had a few trophies. So, me and him never really talked about his extent in boxing growing up, but I seen trophies. So, I know at least he was a good amateur boxer. So he had the gloves, he had the bag, the heavy bag, and all that stuff. So me and cousins playing around, like man, I think I could do this. Hitting the bag and miss the bag, boom, right in the face, and that was it. That was the extent of it. I said, yeah, I'm gonna go play football. I said, I'm done with this, man. I'm so done with this.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has a say that went famous that said everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
oh man, yeah, my plan was, hey, I was gonna be the next Ali, and then boom, all right, go play football. I mean, it happened just like that. It's the same with basketball players in football. Me coaching, I could tell the kids they're pure athletes, but when they come to the football field, when we do bull in the ring, you got to hit, and they shy away from contact. I say, son, go to the court and go play basketball. Football is not for you. Yeah, for sure. But I know a few years ago, I would say probably about a decade ago, it was a lot of talk about boxing being a dying sport. And I think one of the reasons why is because it's the same reason today is like as far as young men wanting to get into boxing, it seems like you gotta know some people or know some stuff. Like it's not readily available. Like you can't see them at a park like you can't see kids playing football or kids playing soccer, or go to a gym and see kids playing basketball and see teams organized and getting ready or post things about it or things like that. It's something that you kind of got to just like get into. And I think that's one of the reasons why, especially the inner city youth. Baseball had an issue with it, and baseball had an issue with baseball kind of losing relevance. And they did a program for inner city youth, and so they can get the inner city kids because they want the black kids. They want those black kids, those black and brown kids, the black, Puerto Rican, Dominican. They wanted them to play baseball. So you got to go to the inner city and you got to basically sell these kids on why they should be interested in your sport. Because in the U.S., it's so many sports that you can get into. A kid is not going to say, "Hey, I want to go get hit with some mitts."
Well, no, and not only that, but also you had the problem uh, that a lot of if you have a kid that is by living with mom don't want that
Mm,
nose to lose that bone right here by getting hit
mm,
in the face. Mom doesn't want what is called punch drunk syndrome. That is what gives a lot of boxers when they get hit in the face a lot, where they start talking slurp, where they losing. It's really similar to Parkinson,
yeah,
and moms don't want that. You know,
right.
um, moms want their kid to grow old and have a good memory, a good way of
Yeah,
talking. But when it comes to poor, to be realistic, boxing is a way of getting you out of the hood. To be honest, you know,
yeah,
boxing. If you come to think about it, boxing is the highest paid sport ever.
yep.
You know,
Yes, yes, it is.
right now you can go and Google highest paid athlete. It's gonna be Floyd Mayweather. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he gets in the ring, gets paid $200 million for only 45 minutes of fighting. You know, yes, he trains for about 6 or 8 weeks, or sometimes more. You know, sometimes it's 3 months training for a fight, 4 months training for a fight. But realistically, if you're good at it, you will be great. Like this Saturday, we have a great fight coming up, Lomachenko, which is considered to be the best fighter ever, against Teofimo Lopez, which is considered to be the best upcoming Hispanic fighter. Both of them undefeated, both of them under the same banner company. They manage them. And so Lomachenko, when he came out of the Olympics, he said he would sign with a company that guaranteed him his first fight as a professional will be a title fight.
Oh man.
And nobody could give him that because there's some rules to fight for a world title fight. But
Yep.
Up Rank said, all right, here we got this opportunity. We're gonna give you a international title. So you're gonna come in, you're gonna fight for an international title. You're gonna fight against this fighter,
Mm-hmm.
and he lost. You know, this superstar just lost his first fight because he's fighting against a person that is more knowledgeable than him. Not because the guy beat him, because he was more knowledgeable than him. He had more malice. He knew the ropes around it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yes, boxing came to a point where it was dying, but it was also because he was missing those superstars. You know,
Yes.
Mayweather didn't want to fight for pennies. The Puerto Ricans superstar have phased out, and
Mm-hmm.
realistically, which is wrong because it's been proven in UK, London, Philly, New York, Chicago, but a lot of other states don't want to push, the government don't want to push a boxing program because it's fighting. And they believe that if you instigate them to fight, they're going to fight in the streets too. But realistically, boxing teaches you that once you become a boxer, you are considered a weapon. And
Yes.
boxing also teaches you self-control. Boxing also teaches you how to dominate your anger in a right way. That's why you're gonna see boxers running, boxer hitting
Mm-hmm.
the bag, boxer hitting the speed bag, boxer shadow boxing, because they have to kind of, you know, neutralize whatever anger they're feeling through that way, you know, and it's up to the trainer to teach them the proper ways to do stuff. I believe like when I moved to Jacksonville last year or the year before, I was looking for different places where we could do boxing shows. You know, that's I
Mm-hmm.
love boxing. I think boxing shows are great. I have been involved in amazing boxing shows. So I went around and only found like about 3 to 4 boxing gyms. And I spoke with the people, and that's what they told me. Here in Jacksonville, boxing won't do nothing, man.
I'm surprised you found that many. I am because I'm in the sports circles and I rarely hear anything about boxing gyms. People who are kind of like train you or whatever, where you can work out, you can get better, you can learn it just as an average everyday person. It's a couple of those programs, but training guys to be professional fighters, I haven't heard about many here in Jacksonville, and
Well,
I think that's part of it.
here in Jacksonville, you got a fighter. Let me look him up really quick. His name is they call him the Jugger, not Hunt, now Juggernaut. He's a boxer. He's Lorenzo Hunt. He's here in
Hmm.
Jacksonville actually. It would be great for you to have him in your show. This guy, he's a boxer. He didn't do well in boxing, so he went to what is called bare knocking boxing. So basically, they fighting where the knuckles is posed, and he became the champion, the world champion, not too long ago. And he's a local fighter here in Jacksonville. And I spoke with him, and he brought the same problem. He told me, listen, the problem here is that we don't have support. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that want to box. There's a lot of kids that want to box, but there's no support of the programs. There's nobody saying, I'm willing to push you guys to the next level. Because it's like you did in football. If you train for football a whole season and you still on the bench, next year you want to come and play?
Right. Right. I know. I'm losing interest, especially if I'm not getting paid. I'm losing interest year by year by year for sure. Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's funny because, like I told you, like boxing is, it's not high on my list of sports that I watch. Basketball and football dominates my TV screen. But probably a few years ago, I just kept being on social media. I kept seeing little memes and little videos of this guy talking smack. He's like 6'8", calling himself the Bronze Bomber. And I'm like, yo, who is this guy? I was like, I ain't really in the box right now. Roy Jones Jr. is going. That was my guy. I watch anytime Floyd fought. I watch Floyd. I say, but I don't know this guy, man. Whatever. And I just kept seeing stuff, and I said, okay, I gotta go see him. And I think he was 20 fights in when I started to really pay attention. And I watched him. I was like, man, and then he fought Fury, and then I was like, man, Fury's good. And then talked smack with Joshua, and I was like, oh man, okay, so we got some guys now. I mean, lacking superstar power was boxing's issue, and I think they're starting to get back to that, at least a little bit. You got a few here and there, but you need more stars.
Definitely. Yeah, you the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder,
Yeah.
uh, he actually brought the heavyweight title back to America. Because he has left America and never came back. I don't know since when. And yes, he had 2 wars or 3 wars with the Gypsy King, and
Yeah.
he was a draw, one of them, and then they fought again, and the King beat him. The King,
Yes.
beat him badly. But the Bomber is a great character, and the Bomber, if you look into him, he used to play football for, I think it's Alabama State or something like that.
Alabama. Yes,
He
man.
was a great football player, and
Yeah, he was a great football player.
he had great future in football, but his hands are nasty.
Yes, they are.
I had a few times opportunity to see him fight when he was coming up, when he was starting, because actually the company that was he fought the most of the time, I got opportunity to work with them, and man, it was first round knockouts, first round knockouts, first round knockouts, first round knockouts, and he
Yep.
had power. He had power, And look, you mentioned Joshua, Anthony Joshua, somebody that I thought he's great. When I saw him fighting in amateurs, I told everybody that kid is gonna be a beast.
Yeah.
Um, but the same as every sport, you could be good at that sport, but are you good at dealing with fame, with money, with the TV, with the cameras? That being
Yes.
a personality for the world, I don't think Joshua had that on him. And when he came to America for the first time to fight, he lost. He got knocked out, you know, and lost his title to a guy that everybody was making fun because he was fat, out of shape. He took a fight.
Yes, I can't remember his name. I was just thinking about it, and I couldn't remember his name. But I remember when he lost, they would say, "Hey, the chubby superstars are back." So they had him up. They had Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. They had, of course, Zion Williamson up there because he was a little chubby at the time. They was like, "Yo, the chubby superstar is back in full effect."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The guy who beat him, it was Andy Ruiz.
Okay. Yeah. Andy Ruiz. Yes.
But Andy Ruiz, anybody that is into sport knew he was not a stepping stone. He was
Yeah.
a guy that, he had a few opportunities to the title. But the same thing happened with him. Then he fought against Anthony Joshua, and he let that fame, that money get to him. Didn't prepare like he prepared the first time and lost the title. So
And
Anthony,
lost.
different. Yeah, he lost for unanimous decision. He didn't get knocked out, but that's the problem with boxing. And like I told everybody, boxing is called a gentleman sport. Because they beat each other in the middle of the ring. At the end, they hug each other, give a kiss, and let's move on. But the difference from boxing and any other sport, that there's no season. So like in basketball, football, season is over, you reset, you're 0-0. Boxing, you carry that L with you until you retire.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua is gonna carry that L that he had with Andy Ruiz until he retired. Wilder is gonna carry that L with him until he retired from the Gypsy King.
Yeah.
And realistically, in boxing, you could talk to any boxer. They're gonna tell you those L are worse than stepping on a Legos. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Oh, I'm sure it's horrible, man. Fury and Wilder Part Two is the first. I think the first boxing match that I broke down because I watched it. I remember I couldn't watch it that night, but somebody on YouTube put the whole fight up before YouTube could take it down because of regulations. So I got to watch it, and I broke it down. And I got a podcast on it. Can't remember what episode it was, but I broke it down, and I really really started to understand boxing. And one of the things that I noticed, I think, was very crucial in the fight, and I've heard, I don't watch many boxing shows, but just from ESPN and Fox Sports One, who casually talk about it, those guys, none of them really brought it up. A few did, but the weight differential between the two, and how Fury, he jumped from the 250s and went into the 270s. Because I remember reports before the fight, they were saying that Fury they feared that he was out of shape because he had put on all this weight. And I was like, man, he got a fight coming up. Why is he ballooned? Because some people reports was he was 280. And so, of course, I guess Wilder's camp, hearing that he was coming in bigger, he came in bigger as well. So he normally fought like around 212 or something. He got up into the 220s. And the weight for Fury helped him tremendously. It did. I mean, he was so in shape at 273. He looked like a dancing bear in the ring. And he kept leaning on Wilder every chance he got. Wilder, when he put that weight on, yeah, when Wilder put that weight on, it was on him like an anchor. He couldn't move with that weight, man. That was the difference of the fight. And of course, Fury is a technical boxer for sure.
And not only that, but he used to his advantage the weight he had, because what he would did is hug him, put his weight on
Hugging.
him,
Yep.
push him, and this guy is a guy that he's great. You know what he does. That's why he called himself the king, the Gypsy King. You know, he knew what to do. He knew how to. And also Wilder never forced nobody. You left.
Okay.
Froze me, what, Brandon?
Okay. Okay, I got you. I'm back. I don't know what was going on. Internet connection was unstable. Okay, I got it.
All right. So basically,
Yeah,
like
I'm
I was
good.
saying that Tyson Fury, he used all his weight to make that sure that Wilder's feet, legs were weak.
Jelly.
Because that was
Yeah.
the trick. Everybody says the problem with Wilder is that he don't work his legs. You know,
Oh man, my arms are bigger than his legs.
probably,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He's all upper body, man. I mean, upper body is Greek godlike. But those legs, man, those legs, when once I seen I think it was the third round, and his leg kind of shook. And I said, oh, he's done. Legs are gone. Legs
Yeah.
are gone, man.
When those knees on buckle, it's really hard to buckle them back, bro.
Yeah. Oh. I know you have you seen that Jamie Foxx is filming the movie for Mike Tyson's life.
I have seen some part. Yes, I have seen some part of
So
it.
Jamie had he's been on a few shows. He's talked about his preparation and getting big, like Mike, and the daily things he do. So he showed a few pictures towards the middle and end of his training and how big he had gotten. I mean, he's like swole up, man. He's huge. He said the only thing is that he said he ain't got no calves. He said so they're gonna have to put some calves on it because Mike had the calves. He said
Yeah.
so they're gonna have to put some calves on it because he doesn't have calves. But man, I'm very excited to see this movie coming up with Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson he's a very interesting person beyond boxing, very interesting. You know,
I had the blessing to meet Mike and work with Mike and his team a few times when he did his comeback on as a promoter, and you get to sit down and talk with him. And I had this imagination in my head of Mike Tyson, the guy that said that he would eat your babies, and
mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson, the guy that went and bite Holyfield's ear. When you talk to him, that's not him, man. That's not him.
Yeah.
And he tells you how he was super rich and then end up with nothing, literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and we go back to what we were talking about earlier, not knowing, not having the right role model, the
Yep.
entourage, not knowing how to deal with the fame. And if you, something that I see in boxing, and I started working with, I have a good friend of mine that he's the lead psychologist doctor for the Major League Baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and his job is to get ready all these Major League Baseball players with mental health, um, how to deal and cope with different situations, how to deal
Yeah.
with fame, how to deal with financial situation, how to deal with girls and all that. So when I was talking with him and putting together a program where we could offer that for boxers, because boxers realistically,
Mm-hmm.
football has the players foundation or something like that. That if you play for certain years, there's a retirement plan for footballs. Baseball have one. Basketball has one. Boxing doesn't.
Right.
Boxing does not have nothing that will take care of all these champions or boxers that have put their life on the line
Yep.
for the entertainment of. And not only that, but a lot of people go like, oh, but they became so rich. Yeah, but you don't know all the problems that they've been having. Let's go and use Muhammad Ali, great fighter, but realistically he ended up with Parkinson and punch drunk syndrome. Um, Many other fighters that had taken their own life because
Yes.
it's like what's that disease that the NFL players get when getting hit too much on the head?
Oh,
Uh,
CTE.
CTE. CTE for boxing is the same.
It's the
You
same.
know, we get boxers get CTE and they get that same energy, that same aggressiveness. And my move is
Mm-hmm.
one day, you know, and I hope sooner than later I could put something together where there's a nonprofit organization that we could present. We have worked already with different nonprofit organization, and we were able to push something like this on California. And what they're doing now is for every ticket sale, there's a charge, a surcharge on the ticket
Mm-hmm.
sale that goes towards a foundation for boxers. You don't need to
Yeah.
be a world champion, just a boxer that fought more than X amount of rounds for X amount of years. When you retire, you have that fund there. You have that, retirement plan for you.
Yeah.
Because basically, boxers need it, man. They need it. And I learned that with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, um, he ended up with nothing, man. When he told me that he didn't have nothing at all, nothing. He said, I was living where I was living in the lifestyle that I was living because people around me loved me and they were paying for my living expenses. I
Yeah.
was like, what? The biggest fighter in the world after Muhammad Ali
Yes.
living like that. And it's shocking.
Yeah. Oh man, Mike was in another stratosphere as far as name. I tell I remember I talked to my little sister. I said, when you talk about fame, when you talk about really, really famous, you think of Michael Jordan, Gandhi, and Muhammad Ali. We talk about these are people who are known under rocks in third world countries. Like these are guys who are really, really known. And I say, you really think about it from just about any sport you could think of, they get this money when they are really children. If you really think about it, they really are kids, because most people look at them and you see a probably a well-spoken young man, seeming like he's way more mature, because he matured probably faster than his peers did, and it seems like he has it all together. I say, but you still have to remember, 21, 22, 18, 19. These are kids who are getting money and they have everybody grabbing at them. I'm talking about because family can be some of the worst, as we
Family, the
know.
first one, bro. The first one is family.
Worse. Man, I look because I listen to a lot of football players talk about their families. I remember Philip Buchanan. He was cornerback, played for Miami, played for the Redskins, Tampa Bay Raiders. He wrote a book and he talked about. He said his mom sent him $1 million bill, and she said it was for raising him. Mind you, now bought his mom house, cars, gave him money before, but he had kind of cut her off because she got a little greedy. Sent him $1 million bill, say this was for raising you. Tyron Smith, the tackle from the Cowboys, has restraining orders on I think his mom and a couple sisters, because just from the way they were acting, and trying to grab at him. And dude, with no direction, if family should be your foundation, and when that crumbles, man, you're really out there searching for people that, I mean, it's hit and miss. You're taking a gamble because these people have no vested interest in you, you know? So, yeah.
In boxing, there's something that thanks to Muhammad Ali, they created what is called the Muhammad Ali Act. That is,
Mm-hmm.
it is a way of protecting the fighter to know how much money. Because in boxing, you have a promoter, is the one putting the show together. You have your manager, that is the one that manages your career. You have your trainer or your corner. It could be up to 3 people most of the time, and then you have you. So the way it works is your promoter. If you're fighting for him, he's the one paying you. If you're not fighting for him, you're fighting for another promoter. He comes away and take 20% of the top. So your manager, you do a deal with your manager depending on what you want. It could be from 5-10% up to 33% of your pay. Then your trainer gets 10%, and then you pay your other cornermans however you feel fit. But you have this whole triggering down charges and comes down, and then the fighter ends up most of the time with only like about 40 to 50% of the purse of
Mm-hmm.
what they get paid, and they blow it up because most of the time you say they poor, and something different from Mike Tyson time is social media now. Social media, you have to front to the world who you are and what you have. But started happening that all these fighters were getting embedded. They were floating the money. The families are talking to them, getting them crazy. So now promoters started
Mm-hmm.
coming up with ways that they put in the contract that if something happens to you, they could put either a life, a health, they could put a type of insurance against you because you're an asset for them. So if
Mm-hmm.
you cannot perform, they have this insurance that they still gonna make money. You know, so realistically, in boxing, there's a big taboo, unspoken rule that promoters don't like family duet, fighter with father trainer or brothers or stuff like that because they most of the time end up happening problems. If a fighter fights with his brother or his dad, might affect his performance when it comes to the fight day. So um,
Mm-hmm.
if you go to any, they go like, oh, this duo right here, this partnership between fighter and trainer is really bad when it's a father and son situation because
Mm-hmm.
the interest is different, you know. And I see it happening. Me that I got to train, manage my brother. A lot of people saw it that in favor of the promoter, I will always be in favor of my brother. Because if I get to
Yep.
get my brother more money, yes, realistically, I'm getting more money too because I get a cut, but I will look for the best interest of my brother. So a promoter cannot come and tell me, listen, I have this fight. They're offering us $30,000. Get five. I get five. Tell your brother's only 20. You know, because it's harder. But family, I have seen people. You don't have no idea in boxing. When there's a fight, a big fight, most of the time they give you fight ticket flights, hotels, meals, and all that for the fighter. And it
Mm-hmm.
has fighters come and ask 20 tickets, flights, 20 rooms because they're entourage.
Mm-hmm.
And they want the whole entourage to be with them because I gotta take care of them because they feel obligated now that I got out from the hood to take care of them. But realistically, not every case, but some of the cases I have seen that they are like leeches. They
Oh
just
yeah.
sucking on them like a mosquito.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I remember. It's a buddy of mine. He coaches high school football. He was a college football player. He played for Clemson, and we were coaching at local high school here. And he had tried to get a buddy of his on, and the buddy he came and he was coming to the practices or whatever, and trying to get integrated and trying to get on with the staff. And one day we were at practice, and my buddy he wasn't there, and so I was leading the workouts and one of the players got into it with his friend. He was trying to get on the coaching, and so the guy he just went off on the kid and back and forth, and it's a pretty ugly scene. And at that point, I told my friend, I said, dude, I understand who this guy is to you. It's your day one, you've known him for a long time. I said, but you can't bring everybody with you. You know, you can't. You got certain Pookie and Ray Ray, Jamal and Tyrone. Hey, I'm sorry, man. Everybody can't come with me. You know, and so a lot of those guys, they don't want to seem like, I want to say sellouts, but seem disloyal or anything like that. You know, because these guys were here, but regardless of what he's meant to you in your life at that point, you do outgrow people and your life is changing. And if they're not there to change with you for the better, then they have to go because you're on a different path.
Definitely. Like I know you probably saw this show, and it was a show that I really like, which is Ballers. Um,
Yeah.
and Ballers show a lot of stuff that I lived it. I went through it in boxing.
Hmm.
That entourage, the groups, the money, the splendid life, and all that. And Ballers touch about that a lot. And I like the Ballers went more ahead and touch also on health, mental health, and different situations. And I honestly believe no matter what sport it is, I believe that mental health touch a big role, you know,
Yes.
and it's something that is a taboo. Nobody want to talk about it. You know, nobody
Hmm.
wants, because I believe they think they seem weak or something, but you know, nobody want to say I'm frustrated because you know my family's going through this, or like what you just said right now. Hey, I need Pookie and Boo Boo and Jilly and Taekwon on my corner, you know, because that's my crew. You know, we ride or die. But there is moments that there's moment. If they really ride or die, they will be
Hmm.
really happy for you in the stands while you performing what you gotta do perform at your best. You
Right.
know, and that's something that is it's the fact that sometimes you come and think that's their family,
Yeah.
and they don't learn how to dissociate. You know, it's like a job. You don't take your family to your office. So sport, when you play in any sport, that's your job.
Yes.
That's your job. That's what you want to make it. If you're trying to make it to go to pros, you gotta treat it like a professional sport. And the
Hmm.
only way you're gonna do it is doing that. You know, I one of my fighters, we had the opportunity to be on Mayweather's camp, and everybody see how Mayweather is. Mayweather is the flashiest athlete in the world. I don't think there's another athlete more flashier than Mayweather. I don't
Hmm.
think there's another athlete out there that like to spend as much money as Mayweather. But you know what? I learned with Mayweather, he's not dumb. He's smart.
No.
You know, that guy will never be broke. You know, that
Nope.
guy, not only money wise, life and everything, he's super smart. You know, the way he trains, I never have seen a fighter train the way he trains. He trains 3 times a day. You know, he does his training in the morning, night, and late night. You know, and like he said, you know, if I bet $1 million, it's because I know I'm gonna make X amount of money. But if I lose that $1 million, honestly, it will not affect nothing that I have right now. You know, you go to
Hmm.
it. He has a huge entourage. He has, I don't know, about 10 or more people living in his same house. But it's a huge house. But he had like 25 women living with him also. Um,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
it's the fact of knowing how to handle your entourage. When it's time to train, he kicks everybody out from the gym.
Yeah.
He doesn't want no phones, no entourage. Only his team is inside the ring, the gym with him. You know, and that's something people don't understand. People gotta understand that that's the way to do it. You know, yes, there's moment and there's moments. You know, if you really care for me and you really want to see me succeed, you gotta respect my trade. And my trade at that moment is being an athlete for whatever sport I am. So you gotta
Yep.
respect it like you respect if I go to job to my work.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Kingston.
Yeah. Yeah. Family and business, it rarely you'll be able to ever mix it, man. You have to keep the two separate because it's two totally different relationships. Because if you get to business with family, you know, it can become an issue and integrate too much family into business. That's bad things happen, man. From no matter what the sport is, Anytime it seems like family is involved, and like you said, like promoters don't really want to work with those who got brothers and fathers and things like that. It's the same in football and basketball, man, where the athlete have their manager or advisors will be uncle so and so, or their brother this, or a cousin this, and it becomes a problem. It becomes an issue. You hear teams and stuff kind of, you hear murmurs about issues teams will have, not with the athlete but with the relative of the athlete. Man, you hear it all the time. Yeah, and so these a lot of these guys, man, and it's hard, and I know it's hard for them to drop whoever that person is. It's hard. I know that's got to be one of the hardest things to do, because this is family. This is somebody who's known you. This is somebody who's supposed to have your best interest. They probably make you feel the most comfortable you feel, because you're in foreign territory once you become a star,
Yeah.
And so I understand. That's why mental health is very important, like you said. For sure. Mental health is very important, because you could, Brandon Marshall, former wide receiver, play for the Jets, play for the Broncos, play for the Dolphins. He said, I have millions of dollars, a couple cars, a few houses. And he said, I am unhappy. He said, I was not happy with myself. He said, I couldn't understand it, couldn't explain it. And he said he, sought help. He found out that he had BPD, borderline personality disorder. And now the NFL, because of him, he's one of the spearheads behind them instituting mental awareness month, where I think the color is green. And so, no, and like breast cancer, they'll wear pink. And so the green is about this color of shirt I have on. And so now they're starting to see CTE hit the league hard, with a lot of guys, killing themselves, man. And so you can't ignore it anymore. It's staring you right in the face.
It's like in boxing. In boxing, for many years, they had different illegal punches and stuff like that. What is called
Mm-hmm.
rabbit punch, what is where you get hit in the back. And a lot of people always raise concerns, and you have people that don't do that, don't do that. But then in the same year you had fighters died from rabbit punches. You had a
Mm-hmm.
kid that I had the opportunity to work with him and his family, and they great people with just pressure cologne, and he had a fight and he got hit so many times by rabbit punches that after the fight, he ended up in coma, brain surgery and everything, and now he's in a wheelchair, learning how to live again. And now they implemented the Richard Cologne Act, which
Mm-hmm.
is protecting head over the back and all those stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but it comes to the point that we don't need to wait for the worst to happen to start taking actions. You know,
Yeah.
if we work on it, mental health, we work on better training, like something I love from the NFL, NCAA, and NBA and Major League Baseball is that now they're pushing that you need to be a certified to become an agent. You
Yeah.
know, if you're gonna become a manager, you gotta go and take the training and become a manager.
Yep.
I know in the NBA, LeBron's manager was trying to change it because he didn't have that, but he went and take it, and now he opened the door for friends and family to do the whole course. But it's not number one. I love the fact that they want to have you a bond of $1 million. Number two, you gotta go take some courses. Number three, you gotta show that you're not in debt, that you don't have bad credit. Because realistically, what will happen is you have all these people that have the opportunity to manage all this huge amount of money, and what you could do with the money of that athlete is big.
Mm-hmm.
You can change
Yes.
their life. Um, so the fact that you have that in certain sport is great. I believe that it should be something across the board. Like to become a manager in boxing, you just gotta go apply for a license, get the license, and you walking out the door with a license. And you managing this fighter, which probably you don't know, had no idea of the business of management or how to negotiate a contract or how to get sponsorship or how to market the fighter. Um, but when you go ahead and you implement, like what I was telling you earlier with my vision, is implementing where there's financial advisors, there's legal advisors, there's mental health advisors. You create something bigger. When I was talking to my friend Dr. Alderondo, and he is, like I told you, the head of Major League Baseball psychologist. Um, he was telling me the reason they implemented it um, was because fighters were being depressed and so on, so on. I'm sorry,
Yes.
players. Um, and he said that after that he has seen improvement in the way the lead see the players now, the way
Mm-hmm.
the league treat the players now.
Yeah.
Because now the players has they've been their minds are being open, you know, and I believe that when you implement all that for all these athletes, you will probably help them have a better career in their
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would imagine so, man, because that rock star lifestyle, I mean, it's so glamorous and it looks like it's the end all be all and it's everything. But true happiness doesn't come from any source outside of you. It comes from within. And so unless you can figure out those things that make you truly, truly happy, you're going to be forever miserable, and that's why I like those who put their happiness in the hands of other people, just like any relationship, whether it's a friendship, or a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever. When you put your happiness in the hands of somebody else, they're going to fail you every time because we're human, and finding out those things that make those guys truly happy, because you got athletes now who are really just they're everyday guys. They just happen to be good at a sport and they just happen to be making a lot of money. But whether they had the money or not, or being on TV or not, they're cool. They're fine with it. It doesn't change them either way. Hey, I just love the sport. It happened to make me a lot of money. It is what it is. But to think that, oh man, you got millions of dollars, what do you have to be sad for? No, man, it goes much deeper than that.
I got an opportunity to in boxing, of course. I met a fighter that at one time in his career he was the number one in the world. He was not the
Mm-hmm.
world champion, but he was the number one contender in the world. His name is Edison Pantera Miranda. He's a Colombian guy. He has a great story. Another friend of mine did a documentary on him. He basically
Mm-hmm.
was an orphan living in the streets, um, black as the night, and that's why he got the name of Pantera. Um,
Yeah.
and he used to eat rabbits, stray rabbits, whatever he could find. And to finally, he found that he could live in the boxing gym. So this trainer took him under his wing, gave him a place to live, gave him food, gave him education. He learned to read and write by reading the Bible. So this guy was
Mm-hmm.
really knowledgeable with the Bible. And you got a guy like that he started fighting in the biggest scenarios, beating the best fighters, and making millions and millions of dollars. So I met him while he was successful, and then one day I didn't see him for many years, and I found him again, and broke, living again in a boxing gym, and I talked to him. I said, "Yo, Eddie, Pantera, what happened?" And he goes and tells me, "Well, no, I remember when he was rich, we were in Vegas, and I'm talking to him, and he's walking in the hotel before he went broke. He's walking up and down the hotel. It was about 2 or 3 in the morning. And I go, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "Well, here I'm talking to God. And this is the only way I will feel happy." So that's great, talking to God make you happy. And but what happened with everybody goes with you? You have half of the people in the room
Yep.
because you're people. You go, "Yeah, but I'm not happy, bro. Money doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
me happy." And literally, this guy, if you were and told him, "Bro, I love your shirt," he took out his shirt and gave it to you.
Mm-hmm.
How much money he had, he would give you the shirt and walk away shirtless, pants and everything. And when he told me money, my friends, the females, nobody makes me happy. So I'm a big believer of God. I was raised in the church, so we started praying that day. And I remember that many years later, I see him again living in the gym, and we sat down and we talked. And it was sad to see like how everybody that was around him, nobody's now with him. The
Mm-hmm.
sadness that he had when he had all his people and all this money, he didn't have it now. Now he was happy. I go, "Yo," but he said, now I know when I'm gonna wake up. Only the real people is around me. I don't have no stress of how I'm gonna feed these people tomorrow. How I'm gonna keep this persona up for all these people tomorrow. and money doesn't make me happy. I was like, wow, coming from a guy that had
Yeah.
everything, you
Yeah.
know, and ending up again the same way he started his life, basically.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but one of my favorite ESPN 30 for 30s is Broke, and he talked about athletes going broke and the financial issues. And man, it's powerful, man. Any young aspiring athlete or just any everyday person who's looking to strive and become something, regardless of what field you're going in, it's something that you should look at. I know Bernie Kosar talked about how he filed for bankruptcy, and he said filing for bankruptcy was one of the best days of his life, best things he could have ever done. Because when people hear bankruptcy, and you just see bankruptcy, you don't look at chapter 7, chapter 11, or any different ones and what it actually means and how it affects, because all don't do the same thing. A lot of people don't know that. He said, but when soon as somebody sees bankruptcy, he said the phone calls stop coming immediately. Because people think, hey, he's out of money, so yeah, he doesn't serve a purpose for me anymore. And he said, dude, his life was so much better after he filed for bankruptcy.
And it comes with everything. We're winning, we're losing. I remember there's a video that you can find out later on about Sergio Martinez. He's an Argentinian boxer that he fought. Um, I don't remember right now who he fought, and he beat this guy, destroyed this guy. I think he was probably he's a boxer that he's in a wheelchair now. I forgot his name right now, and he won. And he said, like, when I got back to my hotel, I have over 1,000 missed calls. Over 1,000 missed calls.
Mm-hmm.
Then I fought Miguel Cotto, and I lost against Miguel Cotto. I only had one call.
Mm.
My mom, to see how I was doing. And,
Wow.
and that shows you this true. Your peers will be there when you're winning, but when you're losing, they're not there. They're not there because now you're not a plus. You're not an asset no more. When like
Yeah.
you they see that bankrupts, hey,
Yeah.
he's broke. Let's move
He's
on.
broke.
And
He's
you don't
broke,
know
man.
that, like I think it was 50 Cent when he declared bankrupt. They asked him, "But how you bankrupt? Are you still making Power? You making this other TV show?" He said, "Well, I'm bankrupt because the amount of money I'm making cannot sustain my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm broke because now I cannot pay my $1 million a month mortgage."
Yeah.
And so that is what a lot of people understand. Being bankrupt and this level of athletes, it's not that you broke. It's
Right.
that your life changed now. It's like like I'm not a LeBron wagon. Um, you know, but what he has been doing is being strategically correct to make his stock value go up. He wasn't
Yes.
Cleveland. Cleveland's not winning. We gotta find a way of making my stock more valuable. Let me go to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Miami hot. We win 3 championships in Miami or 2 championships in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Now my stock is hot because I got
Yeah.
2 rings on my finger. Now I go back to Cleveland, live,
Fulfill the promise.
not fulfill what I promised back then, but now I'm up here. Now
Yes.
I'm a stock.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am the product. I come here, I give you. Cleveland cannot fulfill again. They got 1 ring, they cannot. So where am I gonna go now? So the next place they're gonna give me more value. Let's go to the Lakers. You
Yep.
know, and at least it's like that. You have to move yourself the right way to make sure that your asset never goes down.
Yeah.
And they don't understand, for example, in boxing, which is the sport that I know most, you winning, right? And I remember one fighter, I don't want to mention his name, but he was a really Puerto Rican prominent fighter. He had a great knockout, rate, and we were fighting for $100,000 to $200,000 a fight. You know, um, we are in 2 fights away from becoming world title challengers, and he gets knocked out. His next fight was only $10,000.
Mm.
He has to win that one, then he come back to 50, then come back again and come back again. So in boxing, when you get that L, it's not
Yeah.
only your record getting blemished, also your stock gets blemished. You
Yeah.
know, if and forget about if you get too many L's. If you get too many L's back to back, you're now a stepping stone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I can just imagine what, like you said, that L does. Because I didn't think about it like that. The way you put it, L in boxing is different from taking the L on the court, on the field, on the baseball diamond, even in tennis, even in golf. Taking it. You're right. It is a different type of thing because that your record is right there next to your name every single time. It don't go. It doesn't go away. It doesn't reset. It doesn't go back to 0-0. I love the Jacksonville Jaguars. I will be a Jaguar for the rest of my life. One of the reasons why I'm still a Jaguar because every season gives new hope because we're 0-0.
Yep.
But if we had to carry L's through the years, oh my God, like it, yeah.
Like I come from Miami, like the Dolphins. I don't think there's a team worse than the Dolphins. Like the other day I was in a car and I was hearing what it was a radio station and they go like, oh, don't worry, the Jaguars lost X game against X team, but we're gonna play against the never winning Dolphins. So we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna guarantee a win. And I go, oh my God. So
And got beat down.
who got beat? The
No,
Jaguars?
don't say it. The Miami beat us down.
No, for real?
It was 31-13. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. The Dolphins came here on Thursday Night Football and put up Ryan Fitzpatrick, aired it out, and they put a whooping on us, 31-13. With let me tell you how bad the Jaguars are real quick right now. We're so bad. We're the first team in NFL history to give 3 straight losing teams that hadn't won 0 games, their first win. First time it's ever happened in the NFL. Hey, we break records too, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's great. That's great. I think it was only Miami because I remember when Miami had the perfect record of
Mm-hmm.
not winning a game in the whole season. I like,
Uh,
are you serious?
yeah,
The
yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, for sure, man.
yeah,
But dude,
like
man,
go
yeah, yeah,
ahead.
yeah. No, no, no. You go ahead.
The boxing is like that. It's like you just said, boxing you carry that L next to your name for the rest of your life. When they introduce you in boxing, they go and say, for example, Tyson Fury with 31 fights, 30 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw, and 21 knockouts. You know, but now imagine they say Tyson Fury with 32 fights, 30 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, and 21 wins by knockout. So you got that 1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, I think there's not a lot of fighters. Like Bernard Hopkins is one of those. His first fight was a loss. Bernard Hopkins came out of the jail, he fought and got an L. And
Man.
that guy went back and fought, and he has the record of the longest or oldest world champion. He was a world champion almost into 50 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so there is that Michael Jordan in boxing too. There's people that you know that L probably like Bernard Hopkins said it was a motivation for him to not let it happen again. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it was a blessing because he already had the taste of that L.
Yes. Oh yeah, 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 man, for sure. But man, dude, this has been awesome, man. You taught me more things about boxing. I'll definitely get back into it on more. Uh, do you know anything about Wilder Fury 3? Because from what I saw, it's slowed right now because of course, because of the virus. But they don't haven't had I haven't heard much about it since then. And I want to see 3 if they're going to fight.
So there's discussion that there will be a 3, but there's also discussion that Mike Wilder fight Joshua. Uh,
Hmm.
there's another guy in the heavyweight division that they're also pushing around a lot to fight. Um, they might be a 3, but it will be after 1 or 2 fights for Wilder and 1 or 2 fights for Tyson Fury, because most likely Tyson Fury wants to get that belt that Joshua has.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I
Okay,
can't wait. I
Saturday
hope.
gonna be an amazing fight on ESPN. It's free. Go and check it. Sit down. You're gonna see the fighter, the knockout artist against the stylist fighter. Um, will be I think it will be a chess game for the stylist fighter, because he's fighting a guy that is more powerful than him, and he has to be smart on his boxing style. If you want to, jump in and see some great fight, Saturday ESPN, not to miss.
Okay, who's fighting?
So it will be Vasil Lomachenko, um,
Mm-hmm. I've
and
heard of Machenko.
and Teofimo Lopez. So
Tavima
Lomachenko,
Lopez.
he currently has a record of 14 wins, 1 loss. 10 of those wins has been by knockout. The fight's gonna be at 135 pounds, which is a hot division in any time.
Yes.
Then you got Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez. He is right now 15 wins and 0 losses, and he has about 12 knockouts. But he's a knockout artist. This guy has gone into it was a fight. The fight he was gonna fight got hurt and couldn't make weight correctly. And he asked the guy, "What weight class you want to fight?" He said, "I could do 155." This guy's a 135. And he go, "All right, let's do it." And he went ahead, fought a 155 and knocked out this guy out. And both of them, the funny part of them is that whoever wins is gonna do a backflip in the ring, because both of them, every time they win, they do backflips. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be an interesting fight. I invite you to go and see it, and if you want, you could text me after to discuss
Yeah.
your point of views and what you thought about the fight.
Oh, definitely, man. I'll definitely check it out. Because I got to watch Bama versus Georgia because yeah, I love Alabama. So I definitely I'm go to a bar and I know they have everything is going to be up, so I'll be able to kind of watch both of them, man.
Definitely. And more that is free, so it's gonna be in ESPN. So definitely they're gonna go ahead and put both fights,
Yeah, put them up.
the fights and the games together.
Yeah, man. But I appreciate you coming on to give me a chunk of your time, man. Hey, let people know if you want to follow you on social media, your organization, anything about that. Just let the people know.
Or you want to follow us, you can go to every social media and Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Free Agent Boxing. And in Instagram is Free Agent Box. Uh,
Okay.
Follow us, and right now, same as the basketball and NBA, is the bubble. Everybody's fighting with no crowd on it. Right now, we're a little bit slow. We just finished up the Muhammad Ali World Boxing Super Series. So into further notice, just keep up looking up, and we will come up hopefully bringing boxing at least one show to Jacksonville.
Man, I would love. I've never been to a boxing match, and I would definitely love to go, man, for
that,
sure,
that,
man.
that was my goal for 2020. We took a show to Orlando. We took two to Louisiana, New Orleans, and Lafayette. My goal was to bring one here to Jacksonville, but with COVID, we couldn't. But I'm thinking about doing a small show, no TV, split amateurs with professionals, and see how people like it.
Yeah, yeah, man. I think you'll should get a good crowd for that, man, because there's a lot of guys who talk boxing, and there's a lot of interest in boxing. You can go to any barber shop, somewhere where men are gathered, and just bring up a random popular boxer and let the debate begin.
Yep.
So yeah. So the interest is here in Jacksonville for sure, man. But man, I appreciate it. Hey, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube. Hey, got more of these pumping out, man. So I got a few more interviews coming up in the future. And man, hey, we're trying to get it, man, for sure. But I appreciate you, Jose, man. Hey, but next time, man, I'll talk to you guys later, dude. Peace out.